Alright, here we are at the start of round 2 and our first Mythos phase. The Mythos phase is where the game advances itself. So the first thing that happens is you're going to place a Doom token on the agenda deck. Now, Doom tokens exist, they're just the flip side of Clue tokens. Now, you compare the total of the Doom tokens in play, and you could have Doom tokens on other cards. So you could have Doom tokens on your player card or wherever else. And if the total number of Doom tokens in play are equal to the threshold of the agenda card, then you would advance the agenda deck. That's our first Doom token, and the threshold is 3, so we're fine. And then step 3, we are going to draw encounters from this encounter deck. This is where the game starts to get interesting. I drew Dissonant Voices. Revelation. Okay, so see, there's another revelation. So because it has a revelation, I must... See, I think I gotta turn it sideways. For some reason, it just won't focus. And even now, it's... Well, I apologize for the blurry card. But it says, Revelation... Put Dissonant Voices into play in your threat area. You cannot play assets or events. And then it has a forced action. At the end of the round, discard Dissonant Voices. So for this current round, I'm going to move my stuff down a little to give me a bit of a threat area. For this next round, I will not be able to play assets or events. And now Wendy draws an encounter.
And she got Obscuring Fog. It's a hazard, and it also has a revelation. Attached to your location, limit 1 per location. Attached location gets +2 Shroud. And forced, after attached location is successfully investigate, discard Obscuring Fog.
So, a fog just rose up in my study, making it difficult to investigate things. And that's the Mythos phase. So now we move on to... and in the Mythos phase, had there been any unengaged enemies, they would have engaged. However, there are no enemies in play. So... No, that would have happened in the upkeep phase. Yeah. In the upkeep phase, when we ready all exhausted cards, each unengaged enemy. But we have no enemies yet, so... So, we're back to the investigator phase. Now, the investigators can choose in what order they go in. Just because I'm the designated lead investigator doesn't mean I always have to go first. In this instance, well, I guess it doesn't matter because Wendy and I have the same intellect. Because we kind of want to get rid of that fog. Because right now it's got the Shroud of my place at a 4.
I can try. I have a card in my hand that might help, so I can try and investigate if you like.
Yeah, so we'll have Wendy go first.
So I will use 1 action to draw a card. Which doesn't help me in this instance, but I will use another action to investigate this study. And I'm going to commit Unexpected Courage to the check, which gives me 2 wild cards.
Nice.
So I am currently at a 5.
Is that an ability?
It's a skill.
Max 1 committed per skill test.
So I'm at a 5. So
she can get a -1 and still be okay. Unfortunately, there are -2s, -3s, and a -4.
I got a -3.
Alright. So unfortunately, that's going to put her below.
Well, I have a special ability. Her Drifter special ability is when you reveal a Chaos token, choose and discard 1 card from your hand, cancel that Chaos token, return it to the bag, and reveal a new Chaos token. So I will try again. So I'm going to return it. I will discard that card I just drew, and we're going to give it another go. And I got a +1.
Nice. Better than what you got on the last one.
Yeah. So, Unexpected Courage goes there. I get one of the clue tokens, and the fog goes away.
And that was your second action.
That was my second action. I guess for my third action, I will draw another card.
Okay. So on my turn, I can't play assets or events. So I'm going to draw a card. Not a bad card. I might end up upping to that asset later. I got the guard dog. Now I'm going to try to clear out those last 2 clue tokens. So I start with an intellect of 3, +1 because I've got Dr. Milan Christopher here. So I'm at 4. So I'm sitting pretty good. I'm hopeful I'll be able to clear out those 2 clue tokens. So for my second action, I'm going to try to get one of them. And I get -2, which is still at or above the Shroud rating. So not only do I get a clue token, but because of Dr. Christopher Milan's ability, after I successfully investigate, I gain a resource. And then I'm going to use my third action to try to get that last clue token. That way we can advance the Act deck before the Agenda deck takes its first flip. And we can get, hopefully, a little bit of a lead on the game. I get the Elder Sign ability. So that's actually +1 for me because of my special ability. So I get the clue token, and because of Dr. Christopher Milan's ability, I gain a resource. Now, we can advance the Act deck at any time by using a free action to commit a number of resources as required by the Act deck. I'm looking to just find the actual text for that. Advancing the Act deck. The Act deck represents progress the investigators can make in a scenario. Generally, the investigators can advance the Act deck by spending, as a group, an appropriate number of clues. Spent clues are returned from the investigators' cards to the general token pool. Advancing the Act in this way does not cost an action and may be done during any investigator's turn. The number of clues required to advance to the next act can be found on the bottom of the current act's card text box. Now, if the current act has a boldface objective instruction, that objective overrides the procedure for advancing the act above. To advance the deck, flip the current act over to its B side, follow the instructions on the back, and set it aside out of play. The next card in the Act deck becomes the new current act. When advancing the Act deck, any clues investigators have gained, but are not spending, remain in their play area. Now, we got to this fast today. When we played this last night, it took us a little while, and the game got a bit of a lead on us, because my character, Roland here, was busy covering something up from the other people in the room. So whenever I would investigate or gain a clue token, I didn't get to add it to my clue pile. I got to take it off of a cover-up secret that I was working on so that people didn't get stuff on me in the game. So I was being a little scummy. But the cover-up didn't come into play today. There's no cover-up here. So we zipped right through it. So what we're going to do, we're going to take Act Card 1A, we're going to flip it over to its B side, and read aloud. You notice that the edges of your newly purchased rug are tattered and mud-stained. Finding this odd, you shift the furniture aside and pull back the rug. To your surprise, you see the door leading out of your study. You slowly turn the knob and the door swings open, revealing the hallway below. You jump through the doorway, landing on your feet on the soft dirt. The door to the study slams shut above you. The smell of burning wood fills the narrow hall, intermingled with the scent of rotten decay. Put it into play the set-aside hallway, cellar, attic, and parlor. Now, when you put a location into play, you're going to put it into play in the side that has the keyhole under the name. That is referred to as its unrevealed side. So we're going to go parlor. To put the hallway closer, because I know we're going to end up going there, the cellar and the attic for the rest of the house. And it's kind of neat. So you see just partial doors open, except for the hallway, which is a hallway. Discard each enemy in the study. There are none. You lucked out there. And then place each investigator in the hallway. So the hallway reads, a moment of panic and disorientation strikes you as you land upon the floor of the hallway. The world spins as if turned on its head. Then when we flip it over, the walls of your house are splattered with mud and your hardwood floor is gone, replaced with a dirt path. Now, a few things about this location, because it's a little different than the study. First, it's got that symbol up there, little square, and then it'll have a series of symbols across the bottom in those little circles. Jaina. So we'll see if we can get it to focus here, since my webcam seems to do whatever it wants. It's like our dogs. Anyway, there's a number of symbols. There's a blue triangle, like a red plus symbol, and a green diamond. Those correspond to symbols on these other cards. They represent the rooms that this card links to. So this card links to all these other three, but if you look at these other three, they only lead back to the hallway. So you can go from the hallway to any room, but all the other rooms only lead back to the hallway, is what that means. So now we are in the hallway. Rolling and windy. And when we flip it over, it gets 0 clue tokens. It has a shroud of 1, but gains 0 clue tokens. And remove the study from the game. So the study is now out of the game. We are also going to remove Act 1 from the game. And we're moving on to Act 2, the barrier. A glowing barrier blocks the path to your parlor. As you move towards it, intense heat forces you to back away. Picking up a handful of dirt, you toss it at the barrier and watch in horror as the dirt incinerates. Perhaps there's something in the cellar or attic that can help. Now this has an objective. It also has a clue requirement. It says 3 per investigator. But it also has the objective. When the round ends, investigators in the hallway may, as a group, spend the requisite number of clues to advance. So here, you can only spend the clues to advance while you are in the hallway. And we have to be together, obviously, because we must all be in the hallway. Now, I put the parlor aside here because it's locked. The entrance to the parlor is blocked by a darkly glowing, unfathomable barrier. You cannot move into the parlor. You're unsure what would happen if you tried to cross the threshold of the strange barrier, but based on its extreme heat, you sure as hell don't want to try. The cellar reads, the stairs leading down to your cellar are slick, and they glisten with a thin layer of ice. And the attic, the smell of rotten meat assaults your nostrils as you approach the attic stairs. Alright, so that was the end of the investigator phase. So we're going to move on to the enemy phase. We have no enemies. We're going to move on to the upkeep phase. Nothing to flip over. There are no enemies to engage. So we're going to draw 1 resource and 1 card. And then we're going to end the round. And we will be back with round 3 and exploring more of my house.